Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. It's Mondays with Mallory, with KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's John Mallory. Listen to Idaho Sports Talk with Prater in the Ballgame, weekdays from 3 to 6 on 95.3 FM The Ticket and online at KTIK.com. Now, here's Johnny Ballgame and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, what's going on, Boise State fans? Happy Monday to you. It's a new week, and we're honored to kick it off with you here at Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com. Mondays with Mallory. John Mallory is in the Row Paint Studios there in downtown Boise. You can listen to him and Prater today, 3 to 6, 95.3 FM, KTIK.com, the app, all that good stuff. But he is kicking it off with us as he does every Monday. Johnny, wish we had stuff to talk about today, man. Not much going on, I guess.
But flying around the sports scene today, BJ, and it'll be a busy week for us folks here in the Boise media. 2 basketball games this week, BJ, a football game in Mackey at Nevada, and everything else twirling around in between that. You're going to earn your money this week, Brains. I love it.
Yeah, you'll be courtside 6:30 tonight for the BSU women's game as well as they open the season against Multnomah University. So a lot going on. Volleyball's a couple big matches this week to finish out the regular season. So there is a lot going on. You mentioned 2 big basketball games. You know, Jeremiah Dickey did have a tweet that some are reading into with some of the other news that's circulating. He said, big week starts today, Bronco Nation, something to that effect. And some were trying to loop that in with the reports that San Diego State may be closing in on a Pac-12 invite. But I am thinking he was just talking about a lot of big games for a lot of sports this week. But yeah, there is some stuff out there, man. Maybe we'll get to that at the end of the show. But Dan Patrick says his sources are telling him, San Diego State, it looks like they might get a Pac-12 invite as early as this week. So who knows, the whole conference realignment thing could sneak back up. I checked in with Mark Ziegler this morning, the San Diego reporter down there. He says that he's been told nothing would happen until the TV deal's done in terms of expansion. So don't know where things sit, but yeah, you mentioned other stuff going on. And yeah, there is a lot going on, man. But I think that loss to BYU, I think people are starting to kind of turn the page a little bit, but still maybe a little peeved with kind of how it went down and the final touchdown and just not being able to make any stops in the fourth quarter against BYU's offense. I mean, James says BSU's not world beaters, but the offense is making strides. Glad he's done with BYU till they go to the Big 12, and says basically still best in the Mountain West, goals still attainable. No reason to be 2 down. So, Johnny, if you're a Boise State fan, obviously a tough loss. It stings for the bragging rights and all that. You lose 2 in a row to BYU at home now. The last couple of times they've been to the Blue. BYU takes the big team picture. They get the bragging rights. But really, aside from the small, aside from the group of 5, Cotton Bowl, which not sure how likely that would have been anyway, nothing really changes, right? 3 games left. You can still host the championship game and still go to the LA Bowl. So where are you at on whether it's a big deal or not, the loss to BYU?
I think if you would have told most of Bronco Nation before the season that at some point this year you're going to be 5-0 in the conference, I think you would have said, "Oh, that means you beat San Diego State, Fresno State 5-0. I wonder what the other standings would look like." Yeah, I'll take that. How bad can you do in the non-con? Well, the non-con was the boogeyman for Boise State this year, unfortunately. 1-3. They finished non-conference football, and the only win was, of course, against FCS Tennessee Martin. That's all done now. Turn the page on the non-conference season entirely. Sucks that you have to turn the page on the BYU series entirely, and BYU gets out of Albertson Stadium with the win the way they did. That was a good football game, man. If you like football, you liked watching that game back and forth. I thought Taylon Green and Jaron Hall put on a show in the fourth quarter, 28 total points there. BYU makes the final play on fourth down, too. So many things could have got in the way there and helped Boise State secure that win. It just didn't happen. And I mean, and I'm not going to lie, I was probably talking about Boise State to the Cotton Bowl more than anybody in this town, but I did talk about it knowing how big of a dream and how great a scenario it would have to be for them to squeak in there, right? It was very, very unlikely, but I just wanted to keep them in the conversation for sports talk radio purposes. That's gone now. It's win the Mountain West. It's win these next three, BJ, which means you finish your season 9-3 hosting the Mountain West championship game. And if you win, maybe even a rematch versus Oregon State. I think that would be such a cool litmus test, too, to see the new Boise State for Oregon State. Who knows what it's going to be? Obviously, cart before the horse, but still a lot to pay attention to for Boise State. And I think Bronco Nation fan loves beating the hell out of Nevada, and I think that's probably going to be in the cards this week, beating the hell out of Nevada, Mackey Stadium on Saturday night. Late kick, too, 8:30, right, BJ?
Yeah, I'm hoping like 8:35 or 8:40, so I can try to get there in time. I'm not going to lie; it's going to be a interesting Saturday for me that I'm looking forward to, and we'll dive into that more later in the week. But going to see if we can get to both games somehow.
Nice. Oh.
Kevin Foster, by the way, kind of sums it up. He says, lost to BYU and then lost to San Diego State for a Pac-12 bid. I'm going to go play in traffic. Have a good week, guys.
Yeah, we'll see about that. It looks like it's going to happen. But, I mean, you talked to Mark Ziegler of the Union Tribune.
Yeah, he kind of slowed it down. He kind of slowed it down a little bit. He's certainly not reporting that.
He's the smartest for me. He's where I go for San Diego State news with Ziegler. I know you do, too. And if he's saying calm down a little bit, maybe, but Dan Patrick's not just gonna say that in front of millions of listeners or whatnot, viewers, if he's not 100% sure on a source, you'd think, right? So yeah, that's probably gonna happen, and that's obviously gonna be a huge point of discussion, not necessarily from San Diego State's perspective, but from the Mountain West perspective. What's the Mountain West do? You're losing a flagship program in a lot of sports. Where does the Mountain West go? Do you want to raid somebody else? Do you want to keep it go? What do you do, dude? So we'll see. And then does the Pac-12 stop from there? Do they try to get, San Diego State's in, Gonzaga, yo, Zags, you want to come on down here and be a part of this thing, at least in some type of a basketball respect? And think about the money real quick, and then let's move on. I read an article. I think this was Chris Murray on Nevada Sportsnet, based off what Dan Patrick had said. He said the money, if you're a non-Boise State school in the Mountain West, it's what, $3.5 million a year in TV revenue? The new Pac-12 deal looks like it's going to be in the small end of like mid-20s, high end of like mid-30s. Like, think about that for San Diego State's athletic department. They're going to jump 8-10 times more money coming their way in football money and other stuff. So, interesting deal, dude.
Yeah, and again, it's nothing's for sure done. We'll just kind of see. We're getting multiple comments here. Let me go back to the first one here and give the proper credit. James McDonald, they're loving the Christmas shirt today, Johnny.
Hey.
Nice shirt from James. We got where else we got? Look at that. I like that, man.
It's toasty. It's warm. Come.
Our fabulous intern Jaden Finch says a quote fire fit, Johnny. I guess that's what the cool
Jaden's just
say.
An ass kisser.
I guess he's saying, is that what the cool kids say? That's fire fit, man. I'm gonna start using that. Chris says it's on to Reno. Moving ahead, obviously, as you said, and
go win a Mountain West title.
And Perry says I feel bad for Nevada not really facing an angry BSU team. I figured the spread would be big, Johnny, but it was even higher than I thought. Our friends down at Circa Sports, one of our sponsors.
Yeah, I haven't looked.
Opening line: Boise State favored by 21.
I would have thought more than that, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
26.5 or something. Nevada's one of the worst teams in FBS, but
your initial thought is BSU minus 21.
I don't know if I would take it. I'm just saying, but that's a fair spread. I mean, on paper, this looks like Boise State's going to be able to handle Nevada from what I've seen so far. I mean, is there going to be snow in the forecast, whatnot? I mean, there's a lot of factors maybe, but this isn't a game that I think if you do lose this game, then you're like, where's this program again now? I mean, this is a game, one of those kind of must wins. You got to beat Nevada if this season's going to go anywhere. And if you don't, or you can't, then maybe you weren't Mountain West contenders to begin with outside of the paper format, A
couple big plays to talk about. The one at halftime, we can talk about it. We'll show the clip here, but obviously didn't mean as much since you didn't win the game. But at the time, Johnny, that last stop, to end the first half, where they go for it from the 1 yard line. Nobody knows whether he's in or not. Nobody's sure what to do, and then the referees set the ball down like they're spotting it short. And Boise State, is celebrating. BYU can't believe it. They review it, and that was one of the more dramatic moments all season inside Albertson Stadium, when everyone's waiting, for the call from the official, and he says, after review, the play stands, and Boise State fans go nuts. The team runs off. BYU's all got their hands up. They can't believe it. You thought, like, at that point, you're thinking, okay, that's the turning point. And even Boise State comes down and scores on the opening drive of the third quarter. So you go up 14-7. You're thinking, okay, that's it. What did you make of that call and that play? And obviously they marked him short. And at the time, it seemed like a big play.
To me, it kind of looked like the head, the tip of the nose of the football might have crossed the plane, but we've heard a lot about this. FS2 camera crews, whatnot, don't have as much equipment and technology backing what they would send to, one of their bigger games. I guess they do that. I didn't really know that or pay attention to that, but if that is a thing,
their announcers certainly don't travel for Fox Sports, which is
nope. They don't send the announcers in the booth either. But yeah, that was huge. I remember seeing JL Skinner run off the field there after the news was broke, and they're just fired up into the halftime. And yeah, it helped. Yeah, it got momentum. That was a back and forth game, heavyweight title fight type of thing. Both teams had opportunities to win. Both teams at certain points thought they were going to win the game. You just wanted to see it play out. And it really essentially comes down to a 4th down and goal for BYU. And I've seen the play as much as anybody. You can tell me he scored. You can tell me he scored, and I'll buy that. And you can tell me his butt hit the ground before any other thing, and I'll buy that too. It's like it wasn't conclusive. I mean, the still shot is the closest shot I got, but a lot of times in a still photo, is he really fully possessing the ball or not? Everybody's possessed the ball. If you press pause, looks like everybody has it, but ultimately they probably made the correct call, and you're never going to reverse that call unless it's just blatantly obvious, as you know. Credit BYU, 4th down, they made the play, and they run out of Boise, and kind of a season saver for BYU Cougar fans, huh?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I thought Boise State would win, but I certainly was one of the ones saying I thought this was going to be a much tougher game. There was some people that thought, BYU's lost 4 in a row. They're going they got no chance today. And we've seen this rivalry too many times, man. It just, you knew it was going to come down to the end. It was one play. By the way, Puka Nacua, 14 catches, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. That dude was unstoppable. And Boise State's pass defense, man, we talked a lot about it, coming in. This was going to be their biggest test. They give up 377 passing yards in this game. I'll check the updated stats here to see where they now rank against the pass, but that was not a great performance from the BSU secondary.
And I thought it was a nice moment for the crowd of BSU fans that have been saying this defense isn't good. It's on paper. They've played weak opponents. And when they play weak opponents, they dominate them so much to the point that it makes the stat sheets tell you that this is an elite, this is the best defense in program history. We've heard a lot of that stuff. And that crowd, BJ, I thought a little bit of I told you so juice thrown back at other folks in this fan base. Great defenses the 85 Bears got torched by Dan Marino on Monday Night Football. Like the best defenses ever still have rough outings. Stuff happens in football. don't chase last week's stats in football. We do that too much. Oh, you did this week. Oh, Zach Wilson. Yeah, look at him last week. He sucks. Yeah. That's what I was saying. This week, oh, look at him this week. He beat the Buffalo Bills and looked better. It's a week-to-week sport. Guys get better. Styles make fights. Styles line up differently. And Boise State, for whatever reason, couldn't get their feet under them in the secondary. In that, what's the BYU kid, the receiver again, BJ?
Puka Nacua
Had 19 targets, I saw. Like, they threw him the ball like half of the time.
Yeah, literally almost half the passing attempts went
yeah,
to him.
and they just weren't able to stop it. I think I don't want to – they all had a bad game. Biggers was missing plays. I thought Kaniho was struggling, and I thought they were picking on him a lot of times. Like, you look at the game, and Kaniho's a foot shorter than the receiver in front of him. Tyreek LaBeouf got in. They were rotating him and Kaniho a lot, I had noticed, and neither of them were able to make big plays. That was a tough day for the secondary, and I don't think Boise State faces an offense like that in the next 3 games. Hope that's fair to say. So
no,
the defense will start looking a lot better now. But BYU, I mean, Jaron Hall probably gets a combine invite. That receiver probably plays on Sundays. BYU probably has a couple of linemen. There was no pass rush. Dimitri Washington left after the first play of the game, and they couldn't get any pressure. Jaron Hall was running on him. That was a rough night for Coach Danielson in that defense. They couldn't get off the field when they needed to, and it definitely hurt them. Still had every opportunity to win the game, though.
Yeah, I heard it was a separate dislocated shoulder, by the way. Dislocated shoulder is what I was told on Dimitri Washington. But football players, there are ways that he can play through that. So I don't think it's been determined yet if he'll be out or how long he'll be out. But he was obviously out of the rest of that game, and I heard it was something to do with the shoulder. So we'll have to monitor that moving forward. I think Zeke Noah is going to be able to play through that. He did come in a little bit, some sort of, what do they call it? It was something with the hip, I believe, hip pointer, hip flexor or something. But
he never got it rolling either. Zeke, it looked like, had a rough outing as well. Never kind of got in a rhythm after that opening play. But again, yeah, that's football. Dudes get hurt in this sport. It's violent. Not everybody gets to play every play. Sometimes stuff happens. You have to be able to adjust to that. And I thought Boise State, for the most part, kind of did. I mean, they still could have won the game. It's not like BYU came in there and put a hold on them, and Boise State just couldn't get out of it. They had their opportunities.
And as Dayton says, the play at the halftime, the play at the end of the game, Johnny, as you know, usually what the call in the field is the play is going to stand. I mean, it's going to be inconclusive, 100% to overturn a call, and you just couldn't quite tell if Puka Nacua had that foot still down when he caught it, or where the knee was down when he fell across the goal line at halftime. So I think both those plays had to stand. And if Nakua's ruled out of bounds or incomplete on that last play, you're talking about Boise State's defense making some huge plays when they had to win the game.
Yeah.
It's a totally different storyline, what goes on. But 377 passing yards by far the most that they've given out. 0 3-and-outs for the defense, by the way, as Dayton points out. I saw that and retweeted that earlier. And I think all 11 BYU drives, Johnny, ended in Boise State territory. Okay. So BYU had the ball across the 50 literally at some point every single time they had it. We just weren't used to seeing this from the BSU defense.
And BYU's not sitting there thinking, well, look at that great defense over there. I mean, BYU, their game plan, their execution, they had a game plan and they executed it. And, Jaron Hall's a good quarterback, and he's been up and down in his career. But he certainly left a memorable performance for his fan base in what probably will be the final time BYU plays a football game in Albertson Stadium versus Boise State. I don't know how they're going to be able to schedule that down the road. I hope they do. But BYU with only 3 conference games or non-con games to schedule now, certainly they have things that they want to do elsewhere, and I understand that too. But yeah, sure, it's not the end of the world though, and I'm feeling that from this fan base that they know it's not the end of the world. You're 5-0 in the league. You have 3 winnable games coming up. You'll be favored in all 3 of them, and if you can handle your business, you're going to host the Mountain West Championship game. You'll host it. Yep. And you get another home game in the first Saturday in December. You get to storm the field after you win that, if you do, and the stage and all that stuff. And then you get to see who you play in the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. and you get to, for people who want to travel to it, I've never been to SoFi. I've heard it's better than Jerry's World. Honestly, I've heard it's better than MetLife. I heard SoFi, where the Rams and the Chargers play, is the nicest stadium in the country. Never been there, but certainly the Bronco Nation news train will head down there if, in fact, they get to go to that bowl game.
Oh, no doubt about it. I just wonder, like, if that happens, I remember in 2014 when they were going to the Fiesta Bowl, even though Tostitos was no longer a sponsor, you had, like, Armand Nance still holding up bags of Tostitos or wearing, like, sombrero hats and stuff. What are they going to hold up pictures of Jimmy Kimmel or something if they're going to the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, or what's
maybe the LA skyline, the LA Bowl,
Okay.
something like that. You mean if they win the
if they win the championship to, like, celebrate going to the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, like, what? Maybe, I don't know if there's some, like, poster with Jimmy Kimmel's face on it or something.
That might be a cool thing for someone to introduce. I don't know how much these kids stay up and watch Kimmel. I can't imagine a lot of them. Some of them might not know.
They get to go. I saw last year Utah State, like, their players got to be in the audience for one of the shows. So.
Oh, that's cool, man. But cart before the Bronco there, BJ.
Yeah, well, as if you weren't doing that, talking about the Cotton Bowl for 4 weeks. So yeah, we love to look ahead and think ahead, and we'll see. Yeah, a lot of football still to be played, but before the season, 11-2 or I guess 10 and it'd be 10 wins with the championship, 10-3. Before the season, if you said you'd win 10 games this year, I think fans would take it. Certainly after the 2-2 start, I think fans would have taken the way it still could end up. So we'll see. A lot of football still have to be played. So, hey, I do want to thank the Blue and Orange Store. They are back. I met with Travis Hawks. The Blue and Orange Store is in for another year, Bronco Nation News, and we appreciate them. Check them out online. You get free shipping, any order over $40. Make sure you check them out in person as well, the Boise Town Square Mall on the second floor. All your Boise State gear, go in there, support them, tell them you appreciate their advertising on Bronco Nation News, and they would really appreciate that. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com, 13 Idaho locations. You can find a location near you at shopridleys.com. They got the at-home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery, all that great stuff. Check them out, shopridleys.com. United Commercial Insurance, they're also re-upping for some more advertising with Bronco Nation News. We appreciate them. Check them out online, unitedcommercialinsurance.com. If you're a local business owner in the Treasure Valley, they would love to help your business lower your insurance rates. We use our insurance through them, Johnny. They do a great job at Bronco Nation News, so I fully recommend them. 229-8222. They make business insurance easy. UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. And my dentist, Dr. Minert, that reminds me I need to call him and postpone. I'm going to be in Myrtle Beach next week when I was supposed to have my 6-month cleaning or whatever it is. So BoiseDentistryCo.com, locations across the Treasure Valley. Make sure you check them out. BoiseDentistryCo.com, and he does a tremendous job, all the newest technology, and it's full family dentistry. So your kids, your grandparents, whoever, you can all knock it out at one swoop. They'll get you all in back to back, and then you're done. So check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. We got a big basketball game. The season actually starts tonight, Johnny. Happy college basketball. It is officially allowable. Actually, here in about 35 minutes, you have the first game of the year. Baylor, ranked number 5 in the country, has a home game here that'll be on TV in about 30 minutes, and then there'll be games kind of all day throughout the day. Not a ton of great games. There's 25, all top 25 teams in the AP poll are in action today, but none of them are playing each other, so there's no ranked matchups to kick off the season. It's kind of an anticlimactic start. Sometimes you get the Champions Classic or some of these big games on day one.
This year?
Not for day one. You got to wait another week. You got Gonzaga and Michigan State on Friday down in San Diego on the Air Force Base. You got the Champions Classic next Tuesday. That'll be Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky, Michigan State. That'll be a week from tomorrow, but kind of a slow start. Some of these teams are kind of the way it worked out schedule-wise, kind of playing a bye game or two or starting off a little bit easier. So South Dakota State, who comes into town on Wednesday, Johnny, for Boise State season opener, they play tonight at Akron. So they are playing in Ohio tonight. And then I would assume tomorrow, I don't know if they're chartering tonight, but I would assume tomorrow have to make a trip all the way from Ohio out to Boise and then play on Wednesday. Boise State, I like the scheduling, Johnny. They could have scheduled another game tonight or had, they could have played tonight, but they wanted to, kind of be the fresher team with South Dakota State having to travel and then, play and travel again. And so I think that's interesting that'll be happening on Wednesday after South Dakota State will have already played a game. By the way, Johnny, was doing my advanced research on South Dakota State. They did lose their top 2 scorers. One transferred to Creighton, one transferred somewhere else, but they were number 2 in the nation in scoring last year. almost 86 points a game. They shot over 45% from three-point range, went 21-0 in the Summit League there, fifth straight regular season Summit League title. They're always in the mix, 20-plus wins. They had 30 wins last year. So I know they did lose a couple of guys, but would expect them, as they have in previous years, to have some other guys ready to fill in. But they were one of those kind of lower-level teams that got poached by the transfer portal, losing a guy to Creighton, their leading scorer. But it's going to be by no means kind of your typical 30-point win against in a bye game, in the opening game of the season Wednesday. That's a big game, and I already see, Johnny, that the balcony is open. They're selling tickets up in the balcony already for Wednesday's game. So should be a fun week starting off Wednesday against South Dakota State.
They might lose, I mean, this is a good team. South Dakota State brings it. The Jackrabbits, they're in the tournament all the time. I remember a few years back, they were beating Gonzaga at halftime in an NCAA tournament game. That was Mike Daum, I believe, that they had at the time. I don't know if that coach is still there. Probably not. But
no, it was Otzelberger. At one point, it was T.J. Otzelberger, and he went to UNLV, and now I think is back at Iowa State. But they've had some good coaches there. Yeah.
So I mean, this is going to be a battle. This is going to be a fun game. This is an exciting game. I don't know if this fan base knows that, because it says South Dakota State Jackrabbits, and you just think like, meh. All right, Summit League, meh. Summit League's a pretty good league, though. I mean, it's a one-bid league, but they usually get good teams, and I've followed a lot of Summit League games over the past. When I was up in Idaho, we played some of those teams, and it's a competitive league, and South Dakota State's good. They might lose that game. That's going to be a toss-up, I think. Hopefully, South Dakota State hasn't recovered from those guys getting pillaged out of the portal, but I really like this Boise State team this season. I don't think it's going to matter win or lose these early games. Find the right rotation, and that's what's hard. Leon's got to figure out, like, okay, this is a game opponent. If we don't play well, they're going to come in and beat us. So we have to play well. How do we play well? What's the right rotation? Who starts? How many minutes do I give such and such? How quickly am I going to go to the bench? What am I going to do in this situation? Because it's, again, a new team, and the only opportunity you've had so far outside of practice and a close scrimmage against the Oregon Ducks is Carroll College last week, right? It's weird how you jump into this thing like that. And then you got the Washington State Cougars, who are an improving Pac-12 team, on Saturday at a kind of neutral site. Like, tough opening schedule to the season for Leon Rice. But I'm telling the fans out there, this should be an exciting matchup on Wednesday night, BJ. I can't wait to get down there for it.
And there's different ways to do it, Johnny, because you look at like a Wyoming schedule. I mean, Wyoming's first 5 games are Colorado Christian, Nichols State, Southeastern Louisiana, Howard are the first 4 on the schedule for Wyoming. So there are some teams that play nothing but those bye games, get some wins, get some confidence, but you really don't
figure out your rotation, figure out how you're going to do this. You can't play 12 players a night in college basketball. You play about 8, right? You have your starting 5, you have a third guard or a fourth guard, a third post, and another, you play, your rotation is about 8 in a normal game, and you can't play 10, 11, 12 guys. So Leon and his staff got to figure that out, and they have some tough decisions there because they got a lot of guys that can play.
Yeah, I mean, but you're talking about the first 4 games for Wyoming. You're not playing a team inside of the 235 at Ken Palm, and so they want to do that and get the wins. Boise State's going to play 2 top 135 teams right out of the gate. Some opportunities for some quad 2, quad 1 wins, and it's just a different scheduling philosophy. But I do agree with you that I could see Boise State losing one of these first 2 games, and then fan base may have the question marks, or whatever. But look at last year, man. They were 3-4. They got it going. I do think if there was a team that might get better as the season goes on, this would be that kind of team. A lot of new guys are trying to figure it out.
Yes,
it didn't look particularly perfectly smooth, I guess, against College of Idaho at times. They won easily, but or Carroll College, I guess the women's team played C of I. I guess it was just it wouldn't shock me if they lose Wednesday, and then we're in January talking about them being 15-2 still on the season or whatever. I mean, it's a big game, and I guess from that standpoint, if you can win Wednesday, and if you find a way to win Saturday somehow, and you can get off to a 2-0 start and have these wins in the bank, knowing you're going to continue to get better as the season goes on. I mean, this is a pretty big week. Both these wins, Johnny, I think when we look up in February or late January, and we're start talking about NCAA tournament bubble and all that, I think these are 2 games that won't necessarily hurt you if you lose them. But if you can find a way to win these two, they're going to be on the nice win category on the left side when they're putting that graphic on TV or whatever come January and February. So
yeah, I think the Cougars are an NIT/NCAA bubble team, and the Jackrabbits, hell, they want to go to the tournament. They expect to go to the tournament and win that Summit League. So yeah, they're not playing a lollygag Tech on Wednesday night, bro. This is a legit program, a legit team, and it should be a legit game. And I will see you courtside, my friend.
Yeah, we're getting a ton of comments coming in that we don't have time to read, so I apologize on the basketball team. Everybody's fired up. Wednesday night, the season opener, South Dakota State, 7 o'clock tip. They're selling tickets for $10.
Nice.
So go get a ticket for $10. Come see the game on Wednesday. Should be a lot of fun. And then Saturday, Wazoo Downtown Arena, and then the football game in Reno. So a lot going on this week. The women's team, by the way, they do open tonight, 6:30 p.m. home game against Multnomah University. So if you're looking to head on down there, very affordable tickets, 6:30 tonight to see the women's team open their season. And should be a fun week, Johnny. Looking forward to it. You guys will be breaking it down all week on Idaho Sports Talk, 3 to 6. Johnny, Prater, JP, Bob, the whole crew. We appreciate your time as always, man.
See you at the Avalos presser in a couple hours, bro.
1 o'clock, Andy Avalos got the coordinators after that. They'll break it down 3 to 6. We'll get the video up on the YouTube channel as well. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bronco Nation News,